Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Admiral Cisco back at you. One of my viewers brought it to my attention about Alex doing a Q&A with a woman who had posted a series of question and answers on his YouTube channel. The YouTube channel is actually ran by an acquaintance, a friend of his. I think the dude's name is James. But anyway, I wasn't going to cover it. I read through it already. The reason why I'm going to do this is because there is heavy references to black people in this Q&A, which I found to be really interesting. I don't know if, this is true or not, but it is on his page. And I guess if it was fake, they probably would have removed it already. I don't know, because like I said, I don't really go on his page, like reading through a lot of stuff. And this was on like one of the posts. I don't think it was posted on a video, but it was posted like in the, I guess, the community section. So anyway, without further ado, I'm going to read the questions and then I'm going to read the answer, because she wrote all the questions down. It's like 50 of them. She did that first, and then she had got 50 answers, and she broke it into 25 a piece. So I'm gonna be bouncing back and forth. But shall we begin? Let's get into it. She wrote somebody named Adelma Baldrama 3949. Finally, after 2 years of waiting, my friend in Colorado that knows Alex Collier personally finally answered about 50 questions I had for him that she got back to me recently with, that I want to share with everyone. Some of these questions, to my knowledge, Alex has never answered on camera. So without further ado, here are my questions, and these are the answers I got back from my friend Alex. So I had pulled up two different, I had to pull up another page, because I'm not going to read the questions, all the questions like how she has it, and then the answers, because I don't want to confuse anybody. So I'm going to just flip back and forth. Okay, question number one. If Alex had a pregnant dog that had puppies and Alex wanted to give one to Moronae, would he accept it? Okay. Here. Alright, the answer to question number one, she said, Alex said that Moronae wouldn't accept the puppy because the Andromedans would have to somehow genetically modify the dog for fifth density, and they don't think the dog could survive the procedure. Also, the Andromedans don't have and couldn't quite replicate compatible food that the dog could eat. So that's question number one. Number two, how strong is Moronae? How much can he bench press? Answer number two, Moronae is very strong compared to Earth humans. He can easily bench press 7,500 pounds over his head with just 2 fingers. He can easily rip the head off of a Kodiak bear and snap the jaw off a crocodile. You would want to piss him off. Wow. So Moronae can pretty much easily lift a car, according to her. Interesting. Her and Alex. Number three, how long does it take for the Andromedans to build a mothership? Number three, the answer, if the Andromedans were in third density building a mothership, it would take them about 5 years to build it. In fourth density, about 2.5 years or less. But in fifth density, it would take them about 5 or 6 months to complete. I remember Alex saying that their ship is the same size as California, but it's a cylindrical sphere. It would take him 25 years to have a tour of the ship. And they could build something that fast in 5 to 6 months. That is enormously impressive. Wow. Number four, does the Andromedans have dinosaurs or dinosaur type animals? The answer, no, they do not, and they wouldn't be too comfortable having them around because they're so big, they can be clumsy, and some of them, at least the ones that were seeded on Earth millions of years ago, in parentheses, are incredibly fast and poses an extreme and significant threat to the Andromedan safety. Also, dinosaurs were never indigenous to any of their inhabited worlds in the Andromedan star system. Number 5, my grandson is a huge fan of the Jurassic Park movie franchise and wanted to know, do dinosaurs still exist on other planets? Let me minimize that. 5, tell your grandson they do exist on other planets. According to Moronae, dinosaurs still exist in the Milky Way galaxy in 371 different solar systems and 93 planets that they are aware of according to their database and records. Number 6, is there an unknown and compelling story of what actually happened to the dinosaurs on Earth millions of years ago that most people among the exopolitics community don't know about, that a lot of contactees have yet to discuss? Here's where this gets really interesting, because it points to us, black people. 6, yes, there is, and the short version of the story goes like this. The Syrians, who are the blue skin, lavender skin, and black skin, in parentheses, the black skinned Syrians are mostly related to Earth Africans genetically, got into an altercation with the reptilians about territory on Earth millions of years ago, which the reptilians violated an agreement with the Syrians. The Syrians got extremely pissed off with the dinosaurs ruining a lot of their projects and experiments, which the reptilians thought was funny, so they hired a neutral alien race to use a robotic UFO type craft to track an asteroid to Earth and cause an extinction level event on the planet to kill the dinosaurs all off. Then, after it was done, the robotic UFO ship was programmed to self-destruct, but the reptilians knew it was the Syrians that did this, and they've had problems with them ever since. There's a lot of negative history and wars between the two, and some of it was behind the extinction of the dinosaurs. It's a whole lot to get into. So the blacks that are related to the Syrian, that are Syrians, and the reptilians hate each other with extinctions of the dinosaurs and 2 other skin tone races, huh? Interesting. 7, can you name some alien races from popular science fiction movies and television that some of the star nations strongly resemble? And his answer to that was, yes, I can. Some of them look like Chewbacca from Star Wars. There's a lot of the Yeti races that strongly resemble Chewbacca. There was a television show back in the 1980s called Alf, and yes, there's a race that looks exactly like Alf. There's an insect race that looks exactly like Buzz-Off from the old He-Man and the Masters of the Universe cartoon. I had that action figure when I was a kid. That was an ugly son of a bitch too. There's a couple of races that resemble the Xindi Arboreals from Star Trek Enterprise. Planet of the Apes is real, but they are way taller than Earth humans, and they are the good guys too. There are races that looks like humanoid ducks as well. Number 8, has Moronae and did Visayas ever get into an actual fist fight with any reptilians, and did they win the fight with them? His answer for number 8, Visayas told me in a past life incarnation he fought the reptilians in a war and blew up an entire ship full of them. Moronae told me he was at a trading outpost space station and a female reptilian was walking near Moronae in the opposite direction, and she knocked Moronae down with her tail. The reptilian female was about 10 to 11 feet tall. When Moronae confronted her about it, she told him that she should watch where he should watch where he was walking, and had a nasty attitude about it. So Moronae insulted her in his mind, which she read his mind, and afterwards she threatened to fight Moronae, and they got into a fight which Moronae was losing badly because the reptilians are stronger physically than the Andromedans are. So Moronae pulled out a laser type weapon and shot her and killed her. She came back in spirit form and told Moronae when she gets a new body she was going to come back and kill him slowly, and he was like whatever, and to bring it, and he never saw her again after that fight they had physically or in spirit form. Number 9, has Moronae ever showed Alex a photo album of some of his extraterrestrial friends, and what did some of them look like? 9, he said yes, he did, and most of them look like humans or humanoid types and with different skin colors. Moronae has extraterrestrial friends that are the size of mini Lego men, and he also He is also friends with a giant African-American looking race from the Andromedan galaxy that is anywhere between 65 and 75 feet tall. My God. Talk about giants. I mean, shoot, that would be like us being the size of Bumblebee from Transformers, and they would be the size of Omega Supreme. Giant humans, huh? Wow. And they look like black people. There's another black reference. 10. Can Moronae physically draw and paint pictures with his hands? Number 10. I don't know if he can, and I never asked him this question before about himself personally. 11. Does the Andromedans know why? And I thought this was a really good question. Does the Andromedans know why only a very small portion of humanity can draw and paint pictures when most of us can't? Most people can write but not draw and paint pictures, and that's always been very suspect and strange to me. I also thought that too as a kid growing up, because I love art. 11. According to Moronae and Visayas, all humans on Earth were originally ambidextrous and could physically write in any direction and could draw and paint anything. That was a natural God-given ability that all Earth humans as a race once had. However, when the Anunnaki got to Earth and genetically butchered the DNA of humanity, they ripped out chromosomes 59, 73, 84, 113, and 137 in a dumbing down process, and that is why so few people on Earth, in comparison to the ones that can paint and draw, do not have this ability any longer. That was an excellent question that I don't believe I've ever been asked before. That's crazy. If that's true, that's really fucked up. Because I wish I could draw, and I can't draw for shit. Wow. 12. Can the Andromedans eat our foods, and what kind? The answer, they can eat our celery, sprouts, tomatoes, mushrooms, and pear, and that's all they like of Earth food. 13. Do the Andromedans have replicators just like the ones on Star Trek The Next Generation? That answer was yes, and it's way better than anything we saw in the Star Trek television series. The only issue the replicators would have is replicating some of Earth's food, but physical, non-edible objects are like a piece of cake. 14. Alex, you spoke about an antimatter machine that the Andromedans found on a deserted planet. That's a working archaeological find that's ancient and still works, and how nobody can replicate it and how it can make anything. Alex said that Andromedans said that 7 spacefaring extraterrestrial races have found identical antimatter machines on planets throughout our galaxy. Does this mean it can make planets, stars, and the soul itself? And the answer, it can make planets. I don't know if it can make a star, and it cannot make the soul, and that's probably one of the only things it can't make. That was a gift from God and comes from the source itself. The soul cannot be artificially manufactured. 15. If push came to shove, would the reptilians get pissed off enough to fire a weapon at a hypergiant like Proxima Centauri, for example, and cause it to go supernova, just to prove a point about how nasty they'll get down with intimidation tactics? Good question. Go back, minimize. No, they wouldn't be that stupid, because if they did that, they would kill countless trillions of beings that live on orbiting planets in the vicinity. Earth herself would be affected as well. Once the shockwave would hit it, the reptilians would have every race in this section of the galaxy hunting them to extinction. If they did something so horrific such as that, they know better. They better not lay a finger on Proxima Centauri. Okay. 16. Do the Andromedans know where the source came from? Did it have a beginning, and did something more powerful than itself create it? 16. Number 16. They don't know the answer to this question, and most other extraterrestrial races don't know either. 17. Did Moronae or Visayas ever live a past life as a human on Earth? And if so, what year would it have been when they lived in that incarnation? 17. No, neither of them did anywhere on third density to my understanding. 18. Now here's another reference to some black people. Many years ago, a contactee, and I forgot what their name was, claimed on the Coast to Coast AM online radio show that a famous black leader was originally part of their extraterrestrial slash lineage race as a well-respected, well-known, famous galactic ambassador. I can't remember if they were talking about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, or Nelson Mandela, but does Alex knows if any of them were Andromedans prior to coming to Earth in a past life? 18. I think the contactee from the coast, then this is what he said, number 18, answer. I think the contactee from the Coast to Coast AM show interview was referring to Nelson Mandela because there is some history between him and parentheses. That's so his past life in the Anunnaki. I'm not 100% certain that he was previously a famous, well-respected ambassador, but he definitely was somebody important politically prior to coming to Earth. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., I think, was heavily connected to a race of Syrians prior to incarnating on Earth, but I don't know anything like this pertaining to Malcolm X. I don't believe I ever asked any questions pertaining to him like that. Now that's interesting. I have heard something about a connection between Nelson Mandela and the Anunnaki by Simon Bitch-Ass Parks, but he wouldn't talk much about it like a hater. Anyway, 19. My grandson wants to know from Alex, do the Andromedans play sports like basketball, football, and baseball? Do they like to play video games as well? Alex answered this question saying they do play a sport that is very different than the sports we have here on Earth, and there's no comparison to what it is compared to what we play. Sorry, they do not play video games at all. 20. This is a real personal question. I thought it was kind of inappropriate, but I'm not a girl. I'm not a woman, excuse me. Number 20, my granddaughter wants to know, does the Andromedan women have to deal with crappy periods every month? And do their women experience menopause? And he said, number 20, that's a really personal question to ask them that I would tend to stay away from, especially being that I'm not female. But needless to say, all humanoid females have to deal with that, at least on 3rd through 5th density. I can't speak for 6 and above. 21, do the Andromedans have and use cars, motorcycles, and boats, or is that too old-fashioned for them? And he answered, 21, the closest vehicle on Earth that they use would be something the equivalent of a light rail train, but thousands of years more advanced than anything we have here on Earth. They do not use cars or motorcycles, and I wouldn't necessarily say that those would be too old-fashioned for them. I can't speak for boats. That's never come up before. 23. Hey Alex, do you remember the 1985 classic movie Cocoon? If so, have you ever watched the movie personally? If so, does the Andromedans know of any alien races that looks just like how those aliens looked in the movie? If so, are they the good guys? Alec answered, yes, I do remember that movie, and according to Moronae and Visayas, there's a race that the Andromedans are aware of that looks just like the aliens in Cocoon. As far as them being the good guy, as far as them being good or bad guys, they're neutral and can care less what goes on with the Earth. Their attitude is, it's really none of our business, do you? Interesting. 24, do the Andromedans drink anything the equivalent of an Earth alcohol? And he responded, no, the Andromedans don't drink any kinds of alcohol at all. Number 25, one of my a movie I liked as a kid. In the 1986 classic movie Star Trek IV: The Voyage Home, Captain Kirk and crew had to travel back in time to the year 1986 on Earth to retrieve some humpback whales and bring them back to the future, 2286 in parentheses, so that they could communicate with a giant alien probe that was damaging the Earth and had neutralized all starships that approached it that only would communicate with the humpback whale, which were all extinct by the year 2286, which is why they had to travel back in time in the first place. This movie by far had to have been one of the most compelling alien movies ever made, just because of the message in it alone. Hey, does Alex know if the real reason this movie was made with such a powerful message is because the shadow government was threatened by an extraterrestrial race that told them hands off the whales or else? Good question. And his response was, yes, there are races that consider whales and dolphins on Earth sentient animals, and there are extraterrestrial races that do come to Earth to visit and talk with them and consider them friends of theirs. If our government allows these beautiful, majestic creatures to go extinct, we as a race most certainly will have a problem with some of those extraterrestrial races in the future. I do believe a race or some races definitely did tell the government hands off the whales and dolphins or else. I believe the Star Trek movie about the humpback whale was definitely put out because of the warning they received from several star nations. Okay, those are the first 25. Where's the other ones? The other answers. Okay, give me a second. I gotta scroll up. Okay. All right, 26. Does Moronae think that Earth women, black, white, Mexican, Asian, Samoan, Arabs, Eastern Indian, etc., are sexually attractive? What the fuck? Wow. Okay, where are my answers? There's the answers. Sorry about this, y'all. As I'm looking at it on two different pages because the way she has it set up. Number 26. Moronae wouldn't answer that question, but he did tell me once, and he meant no offense to me, but that he and the Andromedans don't particularly like the way Earth humans smell. But he said it wasn't our fault. We smell a certain kind of way, and it goes back to how our genetics were butchered by the Anunnaki, which created that issue for us all. I see he completely sidestepped that question. You know, that tells me something right there. You probably don't think Earth women smell good. You funny, Moronae and Alex. 27. Does Alex's original biological relatives that were Andromedans 60,000+ years ago remember and miss him? Have any of them in their present incarnation asked Moronae could they get reintroduced to Alex? Alex definitely has had to have had a wife, children, parents, grandparents, nephews, and nieces that all loved him and still remember him from that time period. And that's an excellent question. He said, I've never been asked that question before, and the short answer is yes, and it was a very emotional experience for me. With technology, I was able to remember some of them, but not everyone, but I clearly did have the feeling I remembered them from my past lifetime on site. That's a good answer. 28. Does Alex remember? Now this is a good question. I thought this one was kind of funny. What she said, what she claimed. Does Alex remember what his name was when he was an Andromedan before he was killed on Earth and forced to reincarnate thousands of years ago? Yes, I do. I found out, and this is the answer. Yes, I do. I found out through Visayas when I was a teenager that my name when I was an Andromedan translated to the English language was Joshani Chu, pronounced Joshani Chu. God, I was a handsome 10-foot tall, light blue skinned man back then. That name sounds kind of funny, and it also sounds kind of familiar. It kind of reminds me of an old Star Trek movie, Captain Kirk. Morts, Cho We Chu. He got beamed aboard the ship, talking to the Klingon. Joshani Chu. Really, Alex? Was that your real name? That's funny. Alright, number 29. How smart is Moronae? What is his IQ level? Okay. 29. Moronae is extremely intelligent, and his IQ level can't be compared to anybody on Earth because he's so far ahead of us Earth humans in that department. His IQ level would be in the hundreds of thousands compared to any Earth humans easily. 30. Can Moronae play Earth's musical instruments like the guitar, the saxophone, the clarinet, or the piano? And I like that question. He said 30. I tried to get him to play the guitar once and he sucked at it, so he's still practicing. He's never tried any other musical instruments that you had on the list. We haven't gotten that far yet. Laughing out loud. 31. Is Moronae blue skin like a Smurf? Shoot, one of her grandkids probably asked that question. And he said, answer, no, Moronae is light blue skin like Earth sky. Those Smurf cartoon characters are royal blue in color, which is much darker than what Moronae's skin tone would be like. 32. Is Moronae good at mathematics? I mean, really? Who answered? Who? I know that had to have been her grandkids again. Then now, it's an interesting answer though. The Andromedans don't use mathematics. Their system is far beyond anything we here on Earth could comprehend. 33. I like this one. Oh, this one's good. This one's interesting. Has Moronae ever told you any stories of alien women who are not Andromedans having a crush on Moronae sexually, and how did he feel about that? 33. Wow, this is a really funny question. Once Moronae told me when I was a younger adult that the Andromedans met a race that they were interested in doing trade with. This race looked exactly like the Andromedans, except they all had and could grow hair like we on Earth, like we Earth humans can, whereas the Andromedans cannot. This race also was from a planet somewhere in the Andromedan galaxy. Anyway, the leader of this race had a young daughter, young in Andromedan terms, but hundreds of years older than we are here on Earth. They had a crush on Moronae. Excuse me. They had a crush on Moronae, and she was entering a period of her life where when the females of their race reach sexual maturity and they want to get busy. Well, she wanted Moronae so bad he could smell her pheromones coming from all the way down a hallway. Lysaeus pulled Moronae to the side and advised him against doing anything with her because they didn't want us upset the leader or trade ambassador leader. I can't remember what his title was. Needless to say, Lysaeus talked Moronae out of doing so, and that was the end of that, and the young lady wasn't offended by being politely turned down. Interesting. Let me minimize that again. Oh, I like this one. Here we go. 34. Does Moronae knows any extraterrestrial races that are similar in technology, superpowers, natural abilities, culture, and style to Superman, the X-Men, and Black Panther specifically? All of my grandchildren wants to know the answers to this question. I'm glad she emphasized that, because that sounds like something some kids would ask. And here was Alex's answer. 34. Okay, Superman's crystal technology in his Arctic headquarters was the same, similar, and way more advanced technology that our ancestors in Atlantis had thousands of years ago here on Earth. I've heard the contactees mention something like that before, so that sounds like that could be some truth. There could be some truth to that. As for the X-Men, because it's way too many of them to name to compare each with a star race's ability, so I'll use Moronae as an example, and that is Moronae has incredible strength similar to Beast from X-Men. He's telepathic like Charles Xavier from the X-Men. He could float, not fly, in parentheses, like Jean Grey from X-Men. As for the Black Panther, there is a race that lives on a planet in the Vega constellation whose planet is millions of years more advanced than anything shown in the Black Panther's nation of Wakanda. Everyone on that planet resembles 12-foot tall Ethiopians, and they are a very brilliant and powerful race of people. They are extremely benevolent, beautiful, and wise. They can use energy from a flower to power entire areas for miles, which would be their version of vibranium. That also reminds me of something I seen in an old Robotech cartoon when I was a kid from way back in the 80s. Wow, that's interesting. 12-foot tall Ethiopians, huh? 35. Can the Andromedans see and communicate with their deceased like Luke Skywalker could with Obi-Wan Kenobi in the Star Wars movies? That might have been another question the grandkids asked. And his answer, yes, they can. Remember the story with the female reptilian that Moronae fought and killed in self-defense, and how she came back in spirit form to threaten Moronae with harm once she gets a new body. Unlike in third density, when someone dies in fifth density, when you die, everyone can see your soul and communicate with you as well. Your soul can enter an artificial body if it wants, or have a new body grown to re-enter into. This is very old technology, millions of years old. God, I wish we could do this on third density. That would solve a gang of problems. 36, excuse me. My granddaughter wants to know, who is the star family of Mexican people, and what part of space do Mexicans come from? The answer for 36, yes, the brown race is from planets in constellation Sagittarius, and I do know that some of the Latin races were connected to the Mayans also. 37, do the Andromedans use exercise equipment to stay in shape like how we humans do on Earth? His answer, 37, no, they do not, because their bodies are vastly different from how ours is here on Earth. 38, what does a standard Andromedan scout class UFO dish ship consist of in comparison to a naval aircraft carrier? 38, there really is no comparison, because their ships are virtually alive and can do and operate trillions of calculations per second. A naval aircraft carrier is designed to do not even an inch of a fraction of what an Andromedan scout class ship could do. 39, does Moronae wear jewelry like a necklace, rings, earrings, and bracelets? Does he carry around things equivalent of a mobile phone, tablet, and a universal translator? 39, Moronae, here's the answer. Moronae does not wear jewelry at all, but he does use a universal translation device. Laughing out loud, they don't use or need mobile phones. I didn't think they would either. Number 40, is there same-sex relationships and marriages within the Andromedan culture? And his answer was, number 40, there is with the androgynous Andromedans, but I'm not sure if it is with the male and females of their race. I remember him saying there were 3 sexes: male, female, and androgynous. 41, has Alex ever asked Moronae a question that was so personal that he told Alex that it was none of his business? 41, yes, it was. Yes, and it wasn't with Moronae, it was with Visayas, and I'm too embarrassed to talk about it. Let's just say that there are just some things you don't think about a woman, especially with a telepathic race that can read your mind and hear your thoughts. And I'll leave it at that. Uh-oh. Somebody was thinking about that booty. That got your ass in trouble, didn't it, Alex? That was so revealing, too. 42. Did the Andromedans ever tell Alex what the Earth was like 300 plus years in the future, in their timeline prior to going back in time to Earth to contact Alex and combat the Orion group? 42, and this was the answer. Yes, they did. They told me that the Earth in 300 plus years had been completely conquered by AI and the Orion group. Slavery was everywhere, and every last hope of resistance was put down like dogs literally overnight. It was hell on Earth, and it was everything far beyond anything bad we have presently today anywhere on Earth. Freedom was a dead dream, and everyone was living a total nightmare. Moronae said it was so bad in Earth's future originally that he wanted to cry at how bad Earth humans had been treated. Humans were being executed on the spot, and when you did something offensive to the Orions, they not only executed you, they executed your entire generation. They had absolutely no regard for humanity, and the world leaders were the first to die after the aliens publicly came forward and told Earth that they were the new rulers and that the world leaders sold Earth humans to them. The humans tried to fight, and when we took up arms against the Orion group, they decimated 100 Earth cities in less than 5 seconds, globally killing billions of people just to prove a point, not to screw with them. It was horrible, and when they showed me the video files from the future, even I got choked up and started crying. This is the reason why they are here to change Earth's would have been horrible future to something utopic. I don't think I would want to stomach something like that either. 43. Does Alex know who was the Black Madonna and what was her connection to Africa? Another reference to black people. And he responded, I never really asked them too much about her other than she was some kind of a star pilot from Sirius A that somehow became worshipped, and her voyage to Earth became a religion. Her connection to Africa would have been that she was a black woman that was genetically related to African people. That's all I could really say about it. Really, Alex? That's all you could say? You couldn't say no more than that? It's a start, but you could have said more. 44. Ask Alex what would have happened to Moronae if he disobeyed direct orders from the Andromedan High Council and let Alex use their medical holographic camera to heal him from cancer and all other medical ailments. What would Moronae be arrested for defying orders from the High Council after they specifically told Moronae that he wasn't allowed to use the medical holographic camera on Alex? 44. If Moronae used the holographic medical camera on me anyway, the Andromeda High Council would get extremely pissed off at Moronae, but no, they wouldn't arrest him. They probably would have a hard time trusting him again, and I wouldn't get another opportunity to be healed from anything else in the future. Should I get sick again? Because they'd be watching him like a hawk. 45. Alex, did Moronae and Visayas tell you that your children were also souls from Andromedan? And if not, what was their star families prior to coming to Earth? 45. They told him, and this was the answer, they told him they weren't Andromedan souls, and I'll leave it at that. Thankfully, none of them were reptilian souls either, by the way. 46. Did Alex ever live a past life as a reptilian from Alpha Draconis, and if so, was he an evil person? 46. He answered, no, I didn't, and I have had some. No, I didn't, and I have had some incarnations as an evil seed, but I was never a seed card from the Alpha Draconis star system. 47. What was the most bizarre looking extraterrestrial form that Alex incarnated in a past life? He responded, I was shown a past life where I lived as a 45-foot tall, giraffe-looking humanoid type creature that had a short tail, 7 fingers, 7 toes, and I had 3 horns on top of my head, whereas Earth giraffes would have those 2 stumps and the cranial bone that sticks out of the top of their head. I wasn't a very handsome being, by the way. Anyway, that was the most bizarre being I incarnated as in a past life. Moronae and Visayas both told me that this species doesn't exist in our universe, and that it definitely came from another universe, which I thought was interesting. 48. Is Cybertron from the 1980s Transformers cartoon and a Death Star from Star Wars movies modeled after the Anunnaki planet war carrier ships? He responded, 48, yes and no, but yes, they are somewhat modeled after the planet-sized warships that the Anunnaki did use thousands of years ago in our solar system. 49. With the Andromedans being 5th density and the Alpha Draconians being 3rd density, shouldn't the Andromedans be easily able to beat their asses since the Andromedans have the superior technology? And that's a good question. 49, he said, answer, this is true, however, the Andromedans can't beat 100 different races of the Orion Consortium all by themselves. If it was just the Alpha Draconians by themselves, the war would have been over when I was still a child and them defeated. And the last one is 50. Kind Contactee Corey Good claims, and it's another reference to black people. Contactee Corey Good claims that the Alpha Draconians have been able to bully and screw with any and everybody in our local 52-star cluster except for one race. That race is a 9 to 12 foot tall Zulu South African looking race that is enormously telepathic, and they have the natural ability to create baby wormholes around people as one of their means of self-defense. Corey claims that they can also create powerful illusions that the reptilians absolutely hates and fears this one particular race more so than all others. Why have we never been told about this race among UFO circles? And the answer for the last one, number 50, Alex says, contactee / ex super soldier Corey Good is speaking on a group in the Pleiades. He's telling the truth, and let's call it what it is. The reason this race hasn't been spoken about heavily or at all is because most people in the contact communities, whether it's a speaker, presentator, or the core audience, is white people. There's a ton of racism in the contactee community, and they clearly don't want to touch this subject matter, but he's telling the truth. That tall black Zulu South African looking race are a group that lives on a planet in the Pleiades star cluster, and he's right. The Sikara race and the Orion group cannot defeat them. They are mentally powerful on a whole different level. They kind of know better and tend to stay away from them. They are a benevolent race, but they do not get involved with other planets' politics. However, they do have a vested interest in Earth, and it may have something to do with lineage, and I'll leave it at that. So for number 50, she claims that Alex is, saying that it's a lot of racism within UFO and contactee communities, and I've been speaking about that all along. But she claims, and it sounds like he's being honest if this is true. I found a lot of these questions to be interesting, very compelling. This sounds like something he would say. Again, I don't know, and I can't prove that he did this. This woman claims she's really good friends with somebody that's friends with Alex, and Alex, it took two years to get these questions answered. Again, it sounds like him. I can't prove if it's true or not. This is posted to his main community page. I'm going to leave a link for this Q&A that was typed out and posted by the woman that knows a friend that knows him. And you're free to look over these questions and answers. I thought that the questions about black people were interested. That's what really caught my attention. Then I read through the whole thing without doing the video first, and I was like, oh, all of this is interesting just about. So come to your own conclusion on everything. Take it as is or take it with a grain of salt. It's up to you. This is Admiral Cisco, and signing off.